So, hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Milk Drunk. I'm your host and co-parenting pilot, Tabria Majors, and I'm super excited because today we have one of my fellow friends and models, Hunter McGrady, here with us today. Hunter catapulted to fame after her Sports Illustrated swimsuit magazine debut in 2017, and she fearlessly uses her platform to speak candidly on motherhood, to remind everyone that bodies of all shapes and sizes are beautiful and worthy, and to advocate for more representation in the fashion and modeling industries. Recently, Hunter was named one of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit legends alongside icons like Christy Brinkley, and she appeared on the cover of the magazine's 60th anniversary issue, which is her first cover that she shot just 8.5 months postpartum. In addition to being an unwavering mental health advocate, Hunter co-hosts the Model Citizen podcast with her sister Michaela and is the founder of All Worthy, an inclusive fashion line for QVC that ranges in sizes from extra, extra small to 5X. Welcome, Hunter. How are you?
I mean, wow. I want that intro.
No, seriously.
Always. Beautiful. Wow, thank you.
Literally,
Hi,
everybody always says that's going to be my new bio from now on.
Yeah, right. My entire Instagram.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. For those who don't know, I was recently on Hunter's podcast, Model Citizen podcast. So that was really fun. And I appreciate you coming on here.
I know. I feel lucky. I get to see you like 2 times in a month.
I know, literally, because Hunter and I, we live on opposite coasts. So we never see each other. I can't even remember the last time.
And now I've seen you more than I've seen you in the last few years.
Literally. So we'll hop right into it. You have 2 kids, Hudson and Ava. How old are they?
So Hudson is 3 and Ava is 1.5.
Oh my gosh, that's
They're
so
22
fun.
months apart.
Yeah. So ever since I had my daughter, the question that everybody asks me is, are you going to have another one? When are you having another one? Like,
of course.
Do you have any plans for expanding your family?
You know, it's so funny, that question. I swear the moment your baby pops out, it's all of a sudden, you know, when's the next?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sure you're getting that because I got that too with my first. And I was like, I think I'm just going to, you know, enjoy the first for a second. I'm going to just like learn this whole motherhood thing. And then same with the second. So we're done after 2. I also have a 13-year-old stepdaughter. So we have 3.
Oh, yeah. Y'all are, you have your hands
full. So we're good. You know, my cup is filled. My mama cup is like totally content with my babies.
Yeah, I love that. Not that I receive like any weird responses, but I do feel like people are taken aback when I tell them, yeah, I think we're just going to stick with one, you know?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, that should be okay. I think that there's such a stigma in society that A, women are here to only bear children.
Right.
And B, that one is just, you can't even fathom why you would just have one. And
I know.
I'm like, how about we just let women make their decisions for themselves and be okay with that?
I 100% agree. And my boyfriend and I, we were both raised as only kids. So it's not a big deal to us
very
whatsoever.
Manageable, and it's like, I totally get it.
Yeah. So how were your pregnancies different from one another?
Yeah. So my first pregnancy was wildly different than my pregnancy with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because it was pretty good up until like the 8th month. And then my brother ended up passing away.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was pregnant and I was just about to give birth, I actually ended up giving birth 6 weeks later. So that was very weird. And I think that was also a very weird introduction to motherhood in general, because I was A, dealing with the greatest loss of my life, and B, dealing with the greatest addition in my life. And learning how to navigate that was very bizarre. And it's so hard to even explain or comprehend, because it's such a blur now, because I was in such heavy grief towards the end of my pregnancy, that anything before that seems, honestly, I can't even remember it.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. And it also feels weird because I always say to people, My son got a completely different mom than my daughter did during those first, like,
Yeah.
newborn months. I was much more, like, present with my daughter,
Mhm.
obviously, and that pregnancy was great. You know, it was a different type of pregnancy because then I was chasing around a toddler while being very pregnant, and that
Mhm.
was exhausting in of itself. You know, I think but they were really great. I have to say, I think a lot of people have a misconception, especially about plus size pregnancies,
Yeah.
that, oh, automatically you're going to have so many complications and there's this, that, the other thing you have to be careful of. Really, I had really wonderful pregnancies and I feel very fortunate and very grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I'm so sorry to hear about your brother. I mean, when that happened,
Thank you.
my heart grieved for you. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thank
can't
you for
imagine how
saying that.
difficult that must have been. Like you said, the greatest loss and the greatest addition. Like, do you know how you got through that mentally? Like, or it was just, yeah,
It
I don't even
I mean,
know.
honestly, my faith was number 1,
Yeah.
my family, my support. You know, I think we always say, like, my son was such a saving grace, not to put that on him because that's
Yeah.
unfair to him to then be like, "Oh, you were the one that saved us." You know what I mean? But he really was. He was a saving grace. He was that thing that really came into our life during this time that reminded us that life is short and life is beautiful. But there was a lot of things I had to deal with. It's funny enough, and I know this is sponsored by Bobbie, because I was in such heavy grief, my milk supply dropped drastically.
Mm.
So because there was so much weighing on me, so much emotionally, and I remember posting about it and getting such crazy feedback from people being like, just keep trying. And I was like, I can't. I am literally hanging on by a thread. And that's when I ended up finding Bobbie. And this is like not, I'm just genuinely saying this
Yeah,
from my heart. I ended up finding Bobbie because I had heard through so many people, oh, make sure you do your research on formula, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, honestly, fed is best. I just want my kid to eat. It
literally.
doesn't matter. Like, yes, of course it matters what I'm giving them, but like, I will do my research, like, back off. So I ended up doing my research. I ended up coming across Bobbie. And they were the first formula we fed my son. And that was like, I only was able to breastfeed for about 6 weeks. And then I went right to Bobbie. It was just game changing for me. And I wish that there was more, you know, normalizing of that conversation because yeah, my supply dropped drastically because of the grief of my brother.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't able to breastfeed.
I can't believe people were so critical of you, considering what you were going through, like, motherhood
Yeah.
aside, but I don't understand how people have the audacity to just comment stuff like that. Because I recently looked at that post and read through the comments, and I'm just like, "What is wrong with you guys? Like, y'all are
Yeah.
insane."
It was really eye-opening, and I mean, I've always heard people saying like, "Oh, you're gonna get flack for not breastfeeding or whatever," and I didn't really believe it until it happened, and I was like, "Whoa, there is
Yeah.
2 different ends of the
Dude,
spectrum." There's the
yeah.
people who will absolutely criticize you, and then there's the group that is like, "That is best. Whatever you have to do," because honestly, what I realize now being a second-time mom is like, if your mental health is not good, you're not going to show up and be the best version of yourself.
No.
So you're only doing not only yourself, but your child a disservice. And that's how I felt breastfeeding. I felt this. I also had something where, like, when you have letdown, you have like dread, basically.
Oh.
And it's like, there's a name for it. I think it's called DAER or something like that. And it basically is like when you have letdown or when you breastfeed, you have this like dread come over you and this feeling of like you want to crawl out of your skin.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I had that too. So it was a mix of things. And then the internet being like, you have to do this. It's what's best. Your kid's immune system needs this, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I was so really did my research with formula because I was like, okay, everyone's freaking me out, what I put in my kid's body, yada, yada. And then that's when I came across Bobbie and was very excited to
I
use
mean,
them.
I've never even heard of that. I feel like there's so many things I've never heard of when it comes to pregnancy or postpartum. And it's just like all the things that mothers could potentially experience. And you're harping on me for doing what's best for me and my baby. It's like that energy could
Yeah.
be spent so much better somewhere else, you know? It's
Yeah. And
wild.
there's also something to be said about mother's intuition, right? Like
Yeah,
that just kind of really comes innate. And it's like, I know what's best for my baby. And like, I
totally.
don't need some random person's input unless I ask for it.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my goodness. I want to know, did you ever experience any stigmas or did you ever have any discomfort with your OBs as a plus size woman being pregnant?
So I felt very fortunate in the fact that before I even got pregnant, finding an OB for me, I was like, and I always say this to people, date your doctors, right? Like go
Mm.
around, figure out who you're dealing with. Is this a doctor that is fat phobic? Is this a doctor who is just, you go in for an earache and they say, well, you need to lose weight? Like, what kind of doctor are we dealing with here? And so that
Mhm.
was really big for me for my OB. And so even before I got pregnant, I knew, okay, I want to make sure I find somebody that is on my side, is a champion for me, and isn't going to make me feel uncomfortable. So luckily, she was so wonderful. She never made it an issue. She never said, hey, listen, your BMI is higher, so you're going to have these complications. She said, we're going to treat you just as we would treat anybody else. Everything came back great and fine. The stigma that I got was again online. So much of it was, and people were really watching me, which was very weird. Like I had outlets writing about me and I had people messaging me, and every move I made as a pregnant person was watched and then written about or talked about. And I think all this to say, again, you can be plus size and have a totally normal pregnancy.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think that the stigma around it has to change. It's so archaic in thinking that because you have a higher BMI or you carry more weight, that automatically equals unhealthy. And it's just not true. You have to look at your blood work, you have to look at your blood pressure, your cholesterol, all the other things that come with what health really is. So I felt very lucky on the OBG front of things, but I did get a lot of criticism and a lot of that stigma was attached in the social media world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I hate when people try to, diagnose you and they're just a viewer, a casual viewer of your content. It's so
Yes,
frustrating. And sometimes that gets to me. It usually doesn't, but I got to my heaviest weight after I gave birth. Obviously, most of the time it happens.
obviously, yeah.
And I went and got blood work done because I just saw negative comments and I really got in my head about it. I was just so emotional during that time
Of
and just more
course.
susceptible to, pressure or whatever. And I went and got my blood work done by a naturopathic doctor and I went and got a physical for the first time in years, so that was scary. But everything came back really good. Like all of my labs were excellent. And my doctor was actually surprised. She was like, what'd she say? Oh, my cortisol. She was like, your cortisol is low. So you could get some adrenaline going if you want
Yeah.
to. Like, how am I not stressed with a baby right now? I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, she was surprised that everything was normal because I was 300 pounds at that time.
Yeah.
But I was just like, you really can't just self-diagnose and you're not a medical professional in the slightest whatsoever. It just shows,
Yeah.
how much people don't know about one's
Yeah.
body and just health in general.
And even, medical professionals, like I'm actually working on another podcast that'll be coming out here soon. And we've actually talked to so many doctors and medical professionals who are also saying, like, we've gotten it wrong. We have for so many years been taught, the BMI scale, and we've been taught these things that are actually proven to be outdated and actually proven to not be a real measure of health. And so now it's a very interesting conversation. I think the more that people are opening this up and being vulnerable about it and saying, "Hey, I got it wrong." let's work on this.
Yeah.
What is the true measure of health, right? Like the true measure of health is figuring out your levels, figuring out your blood pressure, your cortisol, what your blood work looks like, how you feel, you know what I mean? Like those kinds of things. So it is a very interesting conversation we're all having. And also shame on those people for coming for you too. You just gave birth and then for them to come after you and, that's so classic though. It's
I
like
know. It's typical.
you're loved on and adored while you're pregnant, and then the moment the baby comes out, it's like, "Well, what are you gonna do to bounce back?"
I know. Snapback culture is so toxic. Like,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't even
is.
think about working out until I was 6 months postpartum. And that's just because I wanted to do it for me. And it was
Yeah.
just good for my mental health. It wasn't even because I wanted to get my body back or whatever, but I just wanted to feel like myself again. But yeah, I just wish people would mind their business when it came to
Yeah.
women's bodies, people's bodies in general, but especially women's bodies. Something else you said was that, or you don't want to negatively talk about your body in front of your kids.
Mhm.
And I really love that. It's something that I haven't really thought about yet, but just negative self speak in front of your kids in general. What made you decide to do that?
That's something I just vowed to myself before I even gave birth, because I
Mm,
know that most people's body dysmorphia, their insecurities, it starts from somewhere, and that somewhere is usually statistically home. And it's listening to our parents, it's listening to our grandparents, it's listening to the people that are around us. Nowadays, it's also listening to social media. And I know they're going to one day go out into the world and be on social media
hmm.
and find they're going to understand that that's just what it is. People are going to say negative things about themselves, but home is going to be their safe space. Home is going to be a place where they are never judged, their body is never scrutinized, and we have to be the example of that, my
Yeah.
husband and I. And, you also realize as your kids get older, like my son never misses a beat. He, me and my husband will be whispering in the front seat and he'll be like, "What do you mean? What do you mean that John said that?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, he doesn't miss a beat." Kids are sponges. And so what we do now affects the way that they grow up and the way that they think about themselves.
Yeah.
And, kids, we're not inherently born to hate ourselves. We're taught that. My son thinks he's the greatest thing that walked the earth, and he is to me, but
Yeah.
like he doesn't look at his hair or his body and think anything negative of himself. No, but one day someone's going to say something that's going to change that about him, and I just vowed to be the safe space and say, not here, not at home.
Yeah. I really love that. And it's something I never, like I said, I never considered. But even with me growing up, I was raised by my grandparents, and
Mhm.
just so many things went unsaid. It was just a totally
Yeah.
different generation. They're from the silent generation, which people
Yep.
are like boomers and that's it. No, it goes on and on.
Yep.
But yeah, just our bodies and like sexuality was just something that was never brought up in my
Yeah.
household. And all of my opinions about my body were formed from the media.
Mhm.
And I think, it definitely it's going to happen regardless. Like you said, our kids are going to be on social media one day, and it's hopefully going to positively impact them, but it's more than likely going to have some negative impacts as well. And I hope that I can just guard them as best as I can. But it's just
Yeah.
interesting considering, like, I wonder, would it have been different if that I would have been exposed to that in my home versus online or with my peers at school? I don't know, but it was just
Yeah.
something I didn't think about until this very moment.
Well, I
But
love that. We're all learning together, right?
literally. But your mom and grandma were both models? I didn't know
Yeah.
that. They
And my aunt, it's
really?
like it's so funny. It's like, okay, if I wasn't gonna do this, then I don't know, because my dad is also an actor. So I grew up in the
Oh,
entertainment industry as
yeah.
a whole.
Yeah, that's really cool. Have your kids done any work like that at all?
No, I'm so protective of my kids. So like
Yeah.
I used to share everything on social media, and I would share their faces and I would share them. And then one day when my son was about 2, we were out and about and we were getting out of the car and he was getting out on the side of the car, or my husband was taking him outside of the car on the sidewalk, and a girl was walking by, saw my son and said, "Hudson, I know your mom. Hudson,
Ugh.
hi, Hudson, where's your mom?" And I was in the front, I was on like the passenger side, so she hadn't seen that I was there yet. And I felt so uncomfortable and he started crying. He was scared because someone was coming after him that he didn't know.
Yeah.
And I felt very weird about that. And from that day forward, I was like, I'm not showing my kids anywhere. If they want to one
Yeah.
day, if they grow up and they want to do that and they want to model whatever, fine. But I can control that now, and I'm just not gonna allow, especially people are so weird these
Oh,
days, you know?
yeah.
I'm like, "Ah, I just don't trust it." So,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. That is literally the reason why I've been debating how much if I should show her at all. I
Yeah.
haven't revealed her name,
Yeah.
but and I don't post her too much. It's like here
I was
and
gonna say,
there.
I don't I thought you didn't show her because I was like, "Oh, I never see her."
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
but I mean, she's made appearances, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But also to
it's
each
just
their own. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's the thing that's so great is that some people are totally fine with it, and that's lovely. I just had this one experience that I was like, "Oh, he's very uncomfortable with it." You know, so it was just one of those things that I was like, I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna step back."
Yeah. And you just never know what people's intentions are.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of issues with family vlogging channels, but I
Yeah.
just, I don't want to know that much information about your kids?
Yeah, I just saw that California just passed a law that says if your, child is in, like, a content, that you're getting paid for a certain amount of minutes, like, that child has to be compensated and put into account, like, by law.
Oh, that's good.
California just passed that, and I think that should be it for everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I hope I don't know how they're going
You
to
would hope that
track
they would
them.
compensate their right? I'm
No,
like,
literally,
"Oh," it's just like
because
yeah.
I've had 2 jobs with my daughter so far, and we just had to do it ourselves, like make her a custodial trust account or whatever, and then pay her
Yeah.
that way. But yeah, I feel like kids can be taken advantage of so easily with social media. So it really
Yeah.
freaks me out. But this is so random. But I watched this interview of this child predator who's in jail for life, and they were asking him, "What do you look for in your next victim?"
Mhm.
But he was like, I don't pay attention to the mom. The mom's if I see a mom by herself, it's a given, it's fine. But I pay attention to the dad. And if I think the dad is a threat, then we'll stay away. We're never going to go after a family if the dad seems like, he can hold his own. So I was like, "Huh, that's so interesting."
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, just seeing a woman by herself, he said it did not matter what she looked like, how big she was, whatever. We can take a woman, but if we see her with a
Wow.
man,
That
then
is
I
insane.
know. And I
That's
was like,
sick.
sick. Absolutely. And
Sick.
it makes me really I was super paranoid in my early postpartum days about going anywhere by myself with her. I avoided it at all costs, but if I had to, Hunter, when I tell you, people probably thought I was crazy because my head was on swivel. I was like, nobody is taking me down.
No, that's a real thing. That like term, like mama bear, like that's your cub now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
It's
don't blame you. I
scary.
mean, listen, I don't care. It's like, yeah, okay, if I look like I'm tweaking, fine. But like,
Right.
you're not gonna catch me slipping.
Literally. Oh my God. I'm much more confident about myself now and my whereabouts.
Yeah.
But how did you manage your mental health? How are you managing your mental health now? It's something that I never really dealt with before. Not saying I
Yeah.
never got sad or never had any issues or anything, but I don't know. I just never I feel like things just wash over me pretty easily. And, being pregnant and, having a child now, I'm really being tested.
Yeah.
But how do you cope?
Oh, I mean, I am such a huge proponent for therapy. I've been in therapy since I was 16, not even 14 years old. And psychiatrists, if
Mm,
therapy is not enough, I
mm-hmm.
am very much so like, if you need medication, you need medication because
Yeah.
sometimes it's a serotonin imbalance. And sometimes it's not just situational anxiety or situational depression, it's clinical. So I think for me, that has always been number one: therapy, therapy, therapy. And also like finding ways where, when I was with my first child with Hudson, I was very all in on him that I almost forgot who I was for a while. I
Mm,
was like so entrenched in everything he did, also because of my brother and everything. I didn't even want to check in with myself because I was like,
mm-hmm.
ugh, that's really messy and really sad and really dark. So I'm just going to forget about it. And that's like the worst thing you can do. And I think, especially as a mom, like I mentioned before, if you're not a healthy, happy mom, everything else kind of falls by the wayside. Like you are the foundation of this house. Everything else is built on top of you. And you got to be strong. And, if you're not, that's fine. But there's ways to get help if you need it.
Yeah.
I think that there's also a stigma about mental health out there, about medications if you need it, therapy. I'm like, it should be as normalized as if, you scratched your leg, Tabria, and I said, here's a Band-Aid,
Yeah.
or here's some Neosporin. Like it's just everyone should and I also think it should be more accessible as well.
Yeah, 100%. That going to therapy it was a really great experience for me. I did it before, like right before I had her. That was my first time doing it. But I don't know if it's weird to say I enjoyed it, but I
No,
enjoyed
it's
it.
great.
Yeah,
That
and I
yes,
really
I
yeah.
enjoy therapy. Every time before I go in, I'm like, "Oh god, I'm dreading this." And then afterwards, I'm like, "Oh, I feel lighter."
Yeah, yeah. My therapist, she was really great, and yeah, she just made me feel really safe and
Yeah,
so
that's great.
non-judgmental, and I think that's really important. Did you have to, because earlier you mentioned you should like date your doctors. Did you have to do a lot of quote unquote shopping around when it came to your therapist?
Yes, I've been through quite a few therapists, mainly because I've been in therapy for so long that, like,
Mhm.
I've moved and I've grown as a person and I've gone
Yeah.
through different lives. I have a grief therapist and then I have a regular therapist. Like, I have multiple.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely have to date your therapist, find somebody that clicks with you, find someone that understands your situation and, maybe can even relate to it and isn't just going to throw like clinical stuff at you, but is
Yeah.
going to really relate to you on a human level. I
Yeah.
think that that's very important. And I think
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with dating around, your doctors and your therapists, and finding out what works best for you.
Yeah. Chemistry is so important.
It
And yeah,
is.
you really have to go off of a vibe, you know? It
Yeah,
changes
you
everything.
really do.
How was you're a self-employed essentially.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate maternity leave for yourself?
So, gosh, I think I gave myself like a month, and then I was like, "Okay, I'm ready to jump back in,"
Oh my
especially as,
gosh.
like, content creation. I was like, "I
Yeah.
need to, like, work. I
Yeah.
can't just, like, hang out." And so I really only gave myself, like, 4 weeks, and then I jumped right back in, and, I think it was good for me, though, in the way that, like, I was able to, like, get back into the groove of things.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Um, I so my boyfriend's an actor and they were on strike when
Oh,
I had her. So it was really rough at that time for us. So I took 2 months before I started going back into modeling, and I like dipped my toe into content creation maybe like 4 to 6 weeks after, but it has been really difficult to navigate a schedule for creating content and being with her. I literally just came to grips with the fact that, okay, we need like part time help. I need to get over myself and give myself
Well, that's
grace.
what I was just gonna say. Do you have any help, or is she in daycare or
Yeah.
anything?
I mean, we have his family. They are a huge help to us, but
Yeah.
it's just, it's not as convenient because she essentially has to go stay with them. And I'd rather have her just be in the house because I want to peep in
Yeah.
sometimes, I want to say, hey.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking for part-time help now. So
Oh, it's gonna change your life,
I
girl. Oh my God. It's gonna change your life. And then you're gonna be like, wait, why didn't I do this sooner? Because
I
I was exactly the
know.
same. I remember we ended up getting a nanny part-time for my son when he was about 8 months old. And I literally was like, okay, I'm gonna go upstairs and get some work done. And then literally 20 minutes later, I'm hanging at the top of the stairs, sobbing, crying, listening
Oh
into
my.
what they're doing. My husband came down and he was like, Hunter, go in the room and close the door. He's fine. And then I was literally sobbing. They were literally downstairs. And I was sobbing. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna think I'm leaving him.
Oh.
And God, now we've been with her for 3 years and she's like my second mom and
That's
she's the best
amazing.
thing that's ever happened. Yeah.
How did you go about finding her?
You gotta date your nannies too. So,
Yeah, that's
you know, I think if you're in are you in like a local Facebook mom group
so that's what
at
I've
all?
heard. I'm not. Clearly, I need to get back on Facebook.
I know.
But
I mean, who's on Facebook? I'm literally, it's such like a boomer thing, but I pretty much am exclusively on Facebook to be a part of like our mom group. But that's where I found her, like tons of recommendations of like, hey, I've used so and so, and now my child, care needs are changing. And, anyways, that's how we found her. And she is the greatest thing that has happened to us ever. And I feel confident in, my kids being with her, and she's taught them so much. And she's just lovely. And shout out to all the nannies out there because they don't get enough credit. And I'm like, y'all are doing the work. People always say like being a full-time mom isn't a job. And I'm like, well, why is it a
Wha-
job then?
literally,
Some
yes,
people
it
are literally getting
is.
paid to watch your children. So it is a full-time
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. I saw this one post of this guy saying, like his wife was asking for help with they just had their first kid and she worked from home, but she was like, I need help because it's hard to work from home and watch the baby. And he couldn't wrap his mind around why she couldn't do both. And and everybody was coming for him in the comments, thank goodness. And he straightened up after that. But I'm just like, do you not realize how much work it is? It is
It's
so much
no, it
work.
is a full-time.
Literally.
I'm shocked you can even get content done.
Yeah, it's so difficult, and I hate
Yeah.
how we undermine the work of the stay-at-home mom or the nanny or
Mhm.
whatever. Like they are so essential, and
Oh my God. It's the
yeah.
honestly, if I was a stay-at-home mom, I think that's a harder job than
No,
a lot,
100%.
like, really, truthfully.
Yeah, it is because like when I have to leave maybe like once or twice a week to go work, and
Yeah.
those car rides, I really savor them now. Like those solo car
Yeah.
rides, like that's kind of one
Right.
of my
That's your,
happy
like, me
places now.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, it is a lot, and I commend all the stay-at-home moms out there. It is not, yeah, I don't diminish that work whatsoever.
Nope.
It's a
No,
lot.
me neither.
How do you think people's experience would be different if paid leave were mandated and if it were fair and equitable?
Oh my God. I think that everything else would fall into place, honestly, because I think that there's so much stress on women. Like the fact that you look at somebody like a place like Denmark, for instance, where there's like a year paid leave. They send you home with everything you need. They do check-ins on the mother. All the things. And I'm like, here they literally are like, we're going to give you, 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks,
Yeah,
pat you on your back and say, good luck. Like it is
literally.
absolutely insane. And then we demand these same women to come back into the workforce and make all the money and then pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for childcare not pay our teachers enough, not pay our caregivers enough. There's so much that needs to be done. And I
Mhm.
think that it feels overwhelming, but I think that if we can focus on a few of these like major problems, I feel like what we'll see that shift happen. You even look at the cost of birth, right? Like if you don't
Literally.
have insurance, my birth, when I ended up getting the bill before insurance, it was like
Oh
$75,000.
my god.
And it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And to expect this from people is insane. And the fact that insurance is not accessible. I mean, thank God for Obamacare for so many people, but
Yeah.
like y- a lot of people aren't able to afford that
No.
insurance. And it's crazy.
Yeah, even with insurance, because I had a friend who just had a baby
Yeah.
and her bill after insurance was like 7 grand. And for
God.
my home birth, I paid 10. And I'm like, dang, well, I probably wouldn't have been that far off if I went to the hospital. So yeah,
Yeah. That's crazy.
there's so much we need to I could go on and on. But anywho, I do want to hit on, body positivity. And because we spoke about it on your podcast a couple of weeks ago, but how the industry is kind of regressing and just moving backwards. There hasn't really been much progress. I just saw that H&M for their plus size section, they went to flat lays. So they don't use bodies anymore or models. For those of you who don't know, when people model clothing on websites, you see the model, you see her face, and then there's what's called unrecognizable, where our faces are cut off. And then there's what's called a flat lay, where it's just the item of clothing, like just laid down, a
I
picture
didn't
taken.
see that,
Yes,
Tabria.
yes.
I'm about to call H&M out on
I know,
their
I know, because
platforms.
they just did like a whole rebrand and they're trying to look all, high end or whatever. But yeah, they took away the plus size models on their site completely.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Here's the thing. You cannot erase plus size people.
No,
That's the thing. I feel like media, fashion industry is trying desperately to hop on this trend and say, oh, good, finally, we don't have to put our coin towards plus size people. And because we don't actually truly believe in it, and it's like, yeah, fine, do what you want, but just know that A, you're leaving money on the table. B, you're never going to erase plus size people.
no.
And they exist all over the world. They need clothes to wear. We need, and I always find it interesting when you look at brands, right? You look at like a beauty brand or a hair brand or shoe brand, a formula
Mm-hmm.
brand, right? And that's not a size. So why are we not seeing this reflected across all boards, across every vertical? Why are we not seeing this represented? Why are we not seeing inclusivity? Like truly, we were really on a good trajectory. And then in the last year and a half, it just absolutely has fallen. I do hope and believe that we will end up getting back to that place.
Mm-hmm.
I just think things need to level out. I think that people are on this, be the thinnest version of yourself
Yeah.
and, do what you want. I'm not against anything you want to do. If you want to do a shot, if you want to work out, I don't care. It's your body. You can do what you want. But just know that that might not cure everything for you. You might still not be fully happy with yourself,
Yeah.
and that's a different conversation.
Yeah, totally. I can't wrap my head around it because, like you mentioned, it is so much money being left on the table. I
Yeah.
I don't understand why brands don't get on board. And one of the excuses they'll use is like, well, because plus size clothing is diminishing in stores as well. And
Yeah.
so they'll say, well, it's not selling, it doesn't do well, we're pulling it. Well, it's because you don't market it. You don't stylize it in the same way that you stylize
Yeah.
your regular size clothes, you know? So
Yeah. It's literally common. It's
it's
wild
common.
because it seems so simple and so common
Yeah.
sense. There's stores that have rolled back plus size that I'm like, "They had plus size? I never even
Literally.
knew that."
Yes. Yes. When I
It's
heard For Love and Lemon had
crazy.
plus size, I was like, when? When?
Yeah, it's
Like,
absolutely crazy. Also, I'm like, just because we're plus size doesn't mean we're not cool. It doesn't mean we don't have style. Like, give us something other than, a cold shoulder cheetah print top for the love of God. Like,
please.
it is absolutely insane that we are still stuck with the same things we were stuck with,
I know.
you know, 8 years ago.
I know. I don't understand. I don't know why brands can't get on board and make trendier
I know.
items. I just don't know why we're constantly left out of the conversation.
Yeah.
But alas, it is what it is. But we'll continue to advocate for ourselves and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we got to
but
continue being loud.
right. So we always ask everybody on the pod, do you have any parenting hacks? And what's the best parenting tip you've ever received? So do you have anything for us?
My greatest parenting hack is to get or unfollow every parenting
Oh
hack
my God.
Instagram out there.
Yeah.
Because I realized I was going and using those like Bible. And the moment that I was like, you know what, I'm just going to really go with my instinct and what I believe to be true and what I feel is good for my kid. Oh my God, I enjoyed parenting so much more. My child started thriving. I was following every hack Instagram in the book. I was following every course, everything in the book. And the moment I said, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and follow my gut. Um, that's the greatest hack I've ever been given. And,
Yes.
and what was the next one? My greatest parenting tip?
But yeah. Or one that you've received.
Yeah, it's honestly probably that. Go
Yeah.
with your intuition. There's
Yeah.
really something to that. And even when it goes to doctors, one time my daughter had a fever and for like a week straight, she was showing no other symptoms. And I was like, God, what is this? It can't be viral because she's been around all of us. She has no other symptoms. My son is not sick, yada, yada. Anyways, I took her to the doctor and I said, "Can you please test her for UTI?" And she said, it's I can tell you right now, it's not gonna be that,
Hmm.
because she's so little and I just don't see it being that. But I guess, basically to appease me, she did. Well, sure enough, it was, right? And
Yeah.
and that very morning, it was like something in my gut was saying, "Take her in to get tested for a UTI."
Yeah.
And thank God I did, right? So it just goes to show, like, that intuition is strong and loud. You just have to, like, let go of the outside noise to really listen to it and hone it in and know that you're
Yeah.
doing great. You're doing great, all of you. And even if you feel like you're messing up, we're all messing up. None of us actually know what we're doing, but we're all doing that together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, I think we're getting so much information overload and we're not meant to take in all this information either,
No.
and
Exactly.
like you said, mother's intuition is real. You know your child best and you know how to navigate motherhood best, even if you think you don't. I remember
Yep.
when I swear my hair was probably falling out more because of this, because I was so hyper focused on screen time and not giving her any screen time.
Oh my
Oh
God,
my,
yeah.
I mean, the guilt
God
that I felt,
forbid. I know.
literally. But I was like, you know what? I need some time. Put on
Yes,
Miss
you need
Rachel. Let's
time.
go.
Exactly. And guess what? You know what? When I was younger, I would come home and I would rot on my couch and watch Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and I turned out fine. If you need to cook dinner, you need a moment to yourself, for the love of God, give your child a screen to watch something.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. I was racking my brain over that, but yeah, just you know what to do. You can do it. It's fine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Hunter, for coming on. It is such a pleasure. I love you so much. And
Oh,
please
likewise.
tell everybody where they can find you. Anything you want to plug, go ahead.
Yeah, you can find me at Hunter McGrady across all boards, Instagram, TikTok. all the things. And you can check out my sister and I's podcast, the Model Citizen Podcast, comes out every Thursday.
Thank you so much, Hunter. It was such a
Bye,
pleasure
love.
having you. Bye.